In ancient Greece, philosophy began with those who watched the sky: Thales, Anaximander, Heraclitus. Their questions reached toward the sea, the stars, and the secrets of nature. But one day in the streets of Athens, a man appeared, a man who turned his gaze not to the heavens, but to the human soul. He sought not the laws of the cosmos, but the laws of conscience. His name was Socrates. He changed the direction of philosophy forever, from the movement of the stars to the movement of the heart. He believed that one cannot understand the universe without first understanding oneself. From that moment on, the true subject of thought became the human being. One day, a friend of Socrates visited the temple of Delphi. He asked the oracle, "Is there anyone wiser than Socrates?" And the oracle replied, "No one." Socrates was disturbed by this. He never thought of himself as wise. "How could I, who know nothing, be called the wisest of men?" he wondered. So he began his journey, questioning the poets, the craftsmen, the politicians of Athens. All of them claimed to know, but their knowledge was shallow, their certainty fragile. In the end, Socrates understood. "The only thing I know is that I know nothing." It is the simplest and yet the most powerful sentence in the history of thought. For wisdom begins where arrogance ends. To search for knowledge, he said, is to befriend ignorance for a lifetime. For Socrates, virtue and knowledge were inseparable. To know the good is to do the good. Evil, he believed, is born not from malice, but from ignorance. He freed morality from superstition and placed it in the hands of reason. To act rightly, he said, one must first know rightly. And how painfully true his words sound today. We live in an age where information is abundant, but wisdom grows scarce. In his time, people knew little but thought deeply. We know everything and think rarely. Socrates never taught. He asked, "What is justice? What is courage? What is love?" Each answer led to another question. He called this method elenchus, the art of giving birth to ideas. He compared himself to a midwife. "I do not teach. I help others to give birth to their own thoughts." He was not a master but a mirror, reflecting ignorance until his students could see their own blindness. The youth of Athens adored him. He gave them something their elders feared: the courage to question. But not everyone admired him. Some saw danger in his questions. They accused him of corrupting the youth and denying the gods of the city. In court, Socrates defended himself. That day, not just a man, but free thought itself stood on trial. And he said the words that would echo through centuries. "The unexamined life is not worth living." He was sentenced to death. He could have escaped. His friends offered him a way out, but he refused. To break the law, he said, would be to betray my own beliefs. He chose integrity over life, and thus philosophy became more than thought. It became a way of being. His wife, Xanthippe, often misrepresented by history as quarrelsome, was in truth a strong and intelligent woman. She shared his fate with silent strength. On the final day, Socrates bid farewell to his friends. He took the cup of hemlock in his hands, his voice calm, his mind clear. "The wind blows where it will," he said, "and we must follow." He drank, and the poison began its work. Even in death, he remained a philosopher, seeking truth in his final breath. That moment, a man meeting death with serenity, has inspired artists for centuries. In Jacques-Louis David's The Death of Socrates, he sits upright, reaching for the cup, his students in tears. Yet he remains the teacher even as he dies. At the edge of the scene by the door stands Xanthippe, silent, sorrowful, human, the union of reason and emotion, philosophy and love. Pierre Perron painted the same moment, but in darker tones where silence replaces heroism. A century earlier, Salvatore Rosa's The Death of Socrates bathed the prison in dramatic light and shadow. Where David painted reason triumphant, Rosa painted human fragility. Many others followed, Signoroli, Zanchi, and countless unknown hands, each trying to capture that single moment when wisdom meets mortality. And in Raphael's The School of Athens, Plato and Aristotle stand at the center, but behind them, half hidden, Socrates debates with the young, the unseen heart of philosophy. In art, Socrates is a silence that speaks. In 1971, director Roberto Rossellini's film Socrates portrayed the philosopher's final days with quiet realism. It neither glorifies nor dramatizes. It simply shows the man.
Disgraziatamente, sono ignorante e la mia sola conoscenza è di sapere che non so niente.
Socrates wrote nothing, but his student, Plato, wrote everything. Through the Apology, Phaedo, and Symposium, Socrates lived on, not in marble but in memory. When Socrates died, one man was silent, but an entire age began to speak. Philosophy, Plato wrote, is not the love of knowledge, but the search for a life worth living. From that moment, to think became an act of being human. Socrates brought philosophy down from the stars and placed it within the human heart. Virtue, knowledge, conscience, and justice became one. He paid for thought with his life, but that death redeemed our right to think. And even now, across the silence of centuries, his voice still reaches us. Question everything, for an unexamined life is merely someone else's thought. Yet beyond the questions, beyond reason and doubt, there is a quiet truth that Socrates left behind. That wisdom is not found in answers, but in the courage to keep seeking. He showed us that the mind is free, even when the body is not. That death is not the end of thought, but its continuation in silence. Perhaps the cup of hemlock was not an ending, but a passage, from knowledge to understanding, from reason to peace. Some deaths begin life.